a lot of persons would say that higher institutions of learning are very demanding, very tasking, time-consuming, and of course cost a lot of money. So come to think about it, why do a lot of other universities just go on with courses that are not accredited by the Nigerian Universities Commissions? Well, we do have a guest in the house who would be talking to us about a lot of these issues surrounding the topic for today. I am humbled and happy to introduce my guest. He is Barrister Shakiru Omolaja. Barrister Shakiru Omolaja. I hope I got it right. He is a lawyer and a public affairs analyst. Very good morning to you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, taking a look at the educational sector, we've seen a lot of degrees, diplomas, and we find we still see candidates taking the JAM exams, UME exams, and they gain admission after the post JAM what do you call it, exercise. At the end of the day, they're in their year 1, year 2, and suddenly they get to find out that whatever they were reading has not been accredited by the Nigerian University Commission. I think that is enough to cause some level of trauma for a student. But where have we got it wrong? It looks as if the educational sector is in total confusion.
Yeah.
So, Barrister, what should we be thinking about really before we put a course on the curriculum at the university?
I think we should be thinking about fixing this country generally. I should have been here for more than 1 hour ago. What stopped me? Fuel queues at the few filling stations that have fuel. Nigerians are traumatized. Now you've asked the question, what shall we be fixing? The educational sector, or the education sector, is just a sector in the economy of Nigeria. But you particularly use the word that got to me, that thrills me. Our children are traumatized. Do you know what some of them have to go through to pass JAM? After having made the almighty WAHEC, or maybe GC or whatever. Or NECO. And their parents, whose minimum wage is 18,000 naira, now struggle by whatever means to get these children to school, pay school fees and everything. You were generous by saying the second year. Some get to know at the point of graduation that the course to which they have been tricked, they have been lured to read, was basically a fraudulent course. If it is not accredited, it has no value. Then the question is, the regulatory agency, perhaps you know that there is a body called National Board of Tertiary Education. That's supposed to be the police, the spy, the sleuth in this arena. And I can tell you, with all sense of responsibility, that body is working. But you are dealing with a group of persons who are absolutely desperate. You could liken these persons who are doing this to parents and their children to bunkers. The effort of the Nigerian security agencies to fight bunkering. Look at the ingenuity that criminals keep going to. Will somebody in his right senses want to go and drill a pipeline of fuel that has constantly led to explosion? But what are we talking about? When I was invited to come and talk on this, I had to go online and read a few things. The first thing that shocked me, and I hope Nigerians are listening, the first thing that shocked me was that as many as 57 universities or higher institutions in this country or in neighboring countries that are ostensibly offering tertiary education to our children have been discredited, have no basis doing the business they are pretending to be doing. Now, mark my words. They are pretending to be in the business of giving tertiary education. And under the same article, this was an article released by one of our newspapers as recently as August this year. We're talking about just a few months. So it is a recent research development that 8 other universities have been investigated. They will not just be investigated, maybe they'll be prosecuted. And what is my take on this? I think those who are charged with this, to some extent they are doing well, but to a very large extent, they are not doing well. How do I mean? This is the age of social media. This is the age of electronic media. This is the age of where information in Afghanistan, in less than 5 seconds, will reach all the parts of Africa. We're talking about taking advantage of the internet. They should do more by way, and we should also come in here. This National Board of Tertiary Education should partner with NOAA, National Orientation Agency. Sometimes I ask myself, what is this orientation agency really talking about?
Now, before I come into the details of all of these agencies and the solutions you're preferring, you did make reference to the fact that we're in the age of social media, but if you're looking deep into this scenario, it has eaten deep into our system. It didn't start today. It's been ongoing for a very long time. The Tertiary Education Board, like you said, are doing very well, but there's a Nigerian Universities Commission. Do you think if there was someone who would be held responsible for this, it would have either been, okay, the system itself, our attitude or an attitudinal thing towards the system, or the Nigerian Universities Commission itself? It has eaten deep into us. It didn't just start today.
No, it didn't just start today.
Ongoing. So if you were to hold someone responsible, who majorly would you say has been responsible for this decay?
The leadership of the government. Our politicians, our leaders, they appoint their advisors, they appoint the ministers, they appoint the commissioners. So if, for example, if I were the Minister of Education and there's such a terrible rot to the future of this country, I'll start the minister and prosecute him. You know, when the head goes, no part of the body can function. When you pick the Minister of Education and jail him, and remember, it was in this educational sector that there was so much fraud of services that were never had. People going to Ghana, going to all sorts of places, and the sort of rot. And remember, some persons were actually sacrificed. What was scandal during the time of our father, Olusegun Obasanjo? Some persons were asked, some senators had to go because of the fraud associated with education. But let me emphasize that we must go the way of holding people accountable. Nigeria is a country. Now, I am a patriot. I am extremely proud of this country. Until I die, I will not relocate out of this country. The only thing you take out of this country, if I have to take me out, is my dead body. I am extremely proud of this place. We must begin to hold people accountable. Nigeria is a country where anything goes. Look at the level of corruption. It is the fallout of the corruption that you have being exhibited in the educational sector.
Okay.
Barrister Molaja, taking a look at this very disturbing issue.
Extremely disturbing.
Yes. Thank God, of course, you went on the net to make some level of research. Would you tell us, did you find out what should ordinarily be the process for a course to be accredited in universities?
Well, I won't say maybe I found that out, but let me at least speak. Let me be a bit of proactive. I did education. I mean, even without having done education, right? There's something called laying a template. What is your plan? What's your game plan? Like you look at the smaller schools, all these our neighborhood, what do you call them now? Kindergarten, they call them crèche, nursery. Do you know there's a vigorous and rigorous process of registering them? Some are approved, some are not approved. So there should be a process of, before you even ever sell forms, there should be a minimum standard you will have met. What are the courses? Who are your lecturers? Are you with me? Is it somebody who never attended any university but has some fake papers put together? As long as he can speak some level of English, he can teach any course.
But doesn't it bother you that if you look at the brochure, the JAM brochure, you see these courses there, and some of them are not accredited? Shouldn't there be a kind of synergy in terms of a working relationship between the universities and JAM, so that because they do this, they take exams and they apply for these courses, you know, first choice, sociology, you know, meanwhile it's not accredited.
I like your question, very, very responsibly put. Yes. It is all a failure of the system. If we were in a better country, JAM will have been sued. Some of these universities will have been successfully sued, and they will have paid through their noses. But yeah, I'm not condemning the judiciary, because the judiciary is not a self-motivating sector. Some person has to go to court to claim rights. We say as lawyers that our courts are not for the Christmas organizations. They will not give you what you have not asked for. For example, you have some very, very disturbing cases of students who have been given results by WAEC. They have gone to school. They were at the point of graduating. They were now asked. I'm telling you about a life case that went to court. The young man, after having graduated, needed the original of his result. Then WAEC said, no, this your result is a fake result. And the young man successfully went to court, and the court saluted